Hey guys, it's time to turn the page and jump into another episode of Direct Edition. Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of Direct Edition. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate your subscriptions. We appreciate your likes and your shares. Please keep that up for us. We're being a big resource for the comic book industry. That's what we want to be for you guys. So send us your comments, send us your likes, share this, tell your friends, go on our social media channels, hit that heart button, and give us some love. All right? Direct Edition TV on Instagram and on Twitter. All right, we've got a really big show today, Jerry.
Yeah.
And we want to spend some time talking about Endgame. So if you haven't seen Endgame, I don't know what your problem is, but if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about Endgame. If you have seen it, stick around because we want to discuss it. It's been a couple of weeks, and we have been pretty excited about it since day one, and we want to get into that. But before we get into Endgame, Jared, I think it's first and foremost we should do our picks of the week.
Oh, for sure. Every week we want to go ahead and talk about the different comic books that are coming out, the new releases that are coming out, and different things that we're excited about. This week is no exception. We got a lot of titles to go through, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Marvel Comics will be bringing us Amazing Spider-Man number 21, Giant Man number 1. This is a 3-issue miniseries and a tie-in to War of the Realms. Black Widow, number 5. Guardians of the Galaxy, number 5. Daredevil, number 5. Immortal Hulk, number 17. Spider-Man, Life Story, number 3. Star Wars, Age of Rebellion, Lando, number 1. And War of the Realms, number 4, part of its 6-issue event series. DC Comics will be bringing us Batman number 71, Nightwing number 60, Superman number 11, Teen Titans number 30, Naomi number 5, Justice League number 24, and Aquaman number 48. Rounding out the remainder of our list, we've got some Image titles with Gideon Falls number 13, Monstrous number 19, Skyward number 13, and Oblivion Song number 15. And that's our list for this week. It's not extensive or all-inclusive, so remember to go to previewsworld.com for more info. Tommy, as always, we got to talk about which ones are our favorites. What you thinking that you're really hunting to pick up?
Well, I kind of feel like this is going to be one of those weeks where I go into your shop and like I've got like a bigger bill, because there is actually quite a few books I do want to pick up this week. Batman, obviously, going to have that, and Nightwing, because those are always on my pull list.
Sure.
So get those issues. Kind of really all I'm pulling from DC this week, I think. And my biggest thing is I'm actually looking forward to some of these Image comics. Oblivion Song, Robert Kirkman's new book, which I really enjoyed. It's a little weird, but it's actually kind of cool, my kind of sci-fi, my kind of weird. But my favorite so far has been Skyward.
Yeah, it's been a fan favorite. I've had a lot of different people picking it up and really enjoying it. And everyone seems to be picking up on different things that they're enjoying.
Well, first of all, the art's great. Lee Garbert, really good stuff. And I think it was one of the first things that drew me to the book in the first place. The cover was really neat. And you go inside, and then the panels are just, each one very well done.
Sure.
So that was kind of one of the first things that drew me to me. Then I saw, as I got into the story, I just find the story very, very fascinating because, it's just one of those scenarios where you don't really think about, living in low gravity. So for those of y'all who haven't, picked up a copy of Skyward, if you can find a copy of Skyward, I highly recommend it because it's really a really cool story, and I think it'd be a really great TV series or film down the road.
Sure. And of course, if you can't find the individual issue, there are 2 volumes of the graphic novel trade paperback out, so you can always pick those up. Image is also pretty good about their first volumes of ongoing series being at a discounted price of $9.99.
Awesome. What about you? What do you got?
Well, I think I'm going to keep riding the War of the Realms train. I've really been enjoying that because what I've been telling to my clients is if you like Avengers Endgame and you like Game of Thrones, this is a perfect marriage of the two, because it's definitely portraying a lot of that high fantasy enjoyment. You know, you have Captain America and some of the other Avengers going to the realm of the Frost Giants, riding on, you know, Valkyrie's Pegasus horses. It's definitely out there. But no, it's really well done. I like it. And like I said, mostly for me, I've been really following Jason Aaron's Thor since its inception. So I'm just going to kind of keep going with that. I read last 2 weeks ago Batman number 70. I really enjoyed that. I know there was a little bit of a lull where people felt like Batman just wasn't doing Batman. And then him coming out swinging on
This is contention for me. I'm going to say this. I don't get why we have to focus so much on this deep-rooted psychology of Batman. I mean, we've been doing this since the 80s.
Sure.
Like, can we figure something new? I mean, Tom King's doing great.
Sure.
He's got some great storylines. All the writers before them, great storylines. But, you know, I'm really ready to take another step into something like, can we get back to some of the detective stuff? Can we explore maybe some more of the relationships between the Robins, you know?
Yep.
I mean, I would love to see a series about that,
Sure.
in all honesty. But, I mean, when you get into this psyche, it's like I'm seeing Eeyore with a cape and cowl on over here, like, just trying to figure out life. And it's like, this needs to evolve into a sense.
Right.
And maybe, I don't know. I mean, I haven't gotten that far ahead in the preview, so I don't know what's coming down the pipe. I know we've got Bane coming back.
Yeah.
So,
and I think we talked about that in a previous episode, and that's kind of where number 70 for me kind of kicked that off. It was, you know, Batman was just kind of done with all of it, and we got more of that visceral and emotional intensity from Batman. Not to say violent, but I mean, Batman's kind of violent.
can you imagine,
yeah.
like, breaking up with Batman? Like, it's like, this is coming
With Batman, not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. I mean, this is all stemming from, you know, last summer's breakup. And it's like...
oh, you're right.
You know, I mean, literally, they've been riding this train for a while. And
Yeah.
a lot of these emotions that Batman's kind of been going through, look, you know... I remember when Jason died in the comic series, and, like, Batman just became brutal. You know, he started punching him with his fists more, and
Sure.
he would hit first and think second, you know, and that's why Tim Drake was so important to the storyline. But this is a whole different emotion,
Yeah.
you know, and sure, he's dealt with death, and it seems like he can deal with death, but, like, if anyone who's had a broken heart, it's like, you know, it's like, hey, man, like, this is like broken heart, like, times 10.
Yep.
You know, because Batman, like, maybe the most deeply rooted emotional human being in the DC comic universe. So it's like, that's just, so, you know, maybe there is something there. Maybe I'm being a little bit too judgmental. I don't know, but I'm kind of like, I'm also kind of like, I do like my action. I do like my detective stuff. So I'm like, let's
put him back on a mystery. Let's put him back on a crime.
let's do something. So I'm a little more engaged with it. Because, you know, how many times do you want to hear somebody, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me, you know? So...
Well, and that's the thing is, going back and reading Cold Days was a 3-issue arc.
Loved it, by the way.
So good, because here you have, it's kind of like Batman meets 12 Angry Men.
The other day, and I thought about this. So
It is true, but you know, Bruce Wayne being on jury duty for Mr. Freeze, and you see a lot of that backfill where he's kind of internalizing and recognizing, like, I went too far. And trying to do the right thing and kind of make recompense.
Broken-hearted.
Yeah. But, you know.
Anyway.
Long story short, I'm interested to see where that goes. There was also a backfill for Batman Last Night coming out. That's going to be a 3-issue miniseries from DC's Black Label that also did Batman Damned.
That's Snyder and Capullo again.
Yes. I think they said that this is going to be their last outing together where Scott Snyder writes it and Greg Capullo draws it.
Dynamic duo.
But the concept is wonderful. It's kind of one of those things.
He's carrying around the Joker's head in a jar.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that ties in, because on the preview, it seems like they're setting up a story where Bruce Wayne wakes up in a hospital and is coming out of a delusional state.
Like Walking Dead.
Kind of. You know, the doctor leans over and says, you know, Bruce, good to have you with us. You've been living in the state where you think you're this Batman character. So it's like, what's real? What isn't?
Psychological thriller.
A little bit, but
Okay.
it reminds me of there was an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer that did this very same thing, and I'm interested to see how it translates. But
Well,
yeah, I think those are all the things that
I do like these one-off stories. They're really great. I think the Black Label's, pushing the limits. So, all good stuff, man.
Yeah.
All good stuff. Well, I think we'll take a quick break and come back, and we'll talk a little bit about Endgame. All right? Be right back.
I got into karate when I was 4 years old, and it was just my favorite thing to do. I tried every other thing. I didn't like dance or nothing like that. In karate, you can dress up in a gi, and you can get on that mat and you can perform like you want to perform. I made friendships by competing in the divisions with them. They were in the same situation, didn't have any friends at the tournaments either, and then we just automatically became friends. I do believe it's put me in a confidence place because when I started, I didn't have confidence in myself. Since this is my 5th Battle of Atlanta, I really want to push me on stage. When I know there's a bunch of people going to be here watching me if I make it, it's just going to be overexciting. I'm going to push my hardest and try to win it.
Hey, and welcome back, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to talk about Endgame now. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. We're going to delve into a little bit. I know there's a lot of resources out there for Endgame, and it's been a lot of information in the last 2 weeks, but we're going to give you our little opinion on it and our take on it. So we're going to jump right in. Again, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. And I think if you haven't seen it, Jared, I kind of want to take a tack hammer and smack somebody's fingers because, dude, this is like an epic movie. Like, this is an epic event just in general. 10 years of Marvel came to an end 2 weeks ago.
This is it. There is no more for this particular arc and saga. The Infinity Saga is over. We built it up over 10 years, and we invested our time and energy and our hearts and our love for all these characters, and I think Marvel came out with a beautifully crafted product. I think at the end of the day, we can say that the chapter is closed and we can move on. And I'm excited to see what comes next. And because it ended so well, it's just open road from here.
And you got your homage. You got your homage to all good things. You got those. We hoped that it would tie in like with Star Trek: Next Generation's final episode, or not tie in. It would, emulate that a little bit. And I think we got that. I think we got some closure. They kind of took everything and wrapped up. And we also got left with a little bit like, hey, there's still more to come.
Sure.
But not so much that we were waiting around for the end credits.
Yeah, I mean, we still wait around for the end credits because after 10 years, that's what Marvel does.
We're programmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though, again, there was no stinger, there was no teaser afterwards, it kept us focused on the now. We didn't have to look forward to anything, or at least we can still look forward, but we're left into the great unknown yet again. It's kind of that awe and wonderment of when Iron Man first came out. It's rife with possibilities, but the movie itself, oh my God.
What were your favorite moments?
Favorite moments for me, during the last battle with Thanos, when Scarlet Witch shows up on the scene, the amount of energy that my body was producing could have lifted me off the chair in the theater. And he was legitimately afraid of her. He told his fleet and his army to just rain fire from the heavens at the cost of his own soldiers. That's fear. And then again, we have Captain Marvel going toe-to-toe to him, took a headbutt like it was nothing, and he had to go ahead and use the Power Stone to fend her off.
I think that's interesting because, like, at the end of Infinity War, it was like, man, Thanos just
Rex
was just, but then they took it one step further with Thanos, and really showed just how awesome this guy is.
Yeah.
And, he was like, I don't care. I'm going to do this at all costs. We saw that emotionally when he, threw Gamora off to get in Vormir to get the Soul Stone. But he was like, I'm going to kill everybody. This is how badly I want this. And that's just that's the hallmark of a true villain. They are single-minded and singularly focused And I just thought it was great. I thought that part was awesome. I agree with you. The end scene for me is when everybody came out of those like portals. It was just like the most epic. It's like almost like that fold out cover on a in a book.
Yeah.
It was like the most epic comic entrance ever.
Oh, and it was absolutely beautifully rendered. Plus, I also have a soft spot for Doctor Strange. So seeing him come in kind of with the cavalry and have that aha moment of we're not alone was really cool.
Yeah, that part was just like, it's one of those moments when in movies when you're just like, you want to stand up and go, yeah. So I definitely was digging that. Which leads me to my next moment. I think, we had 3 hours of this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like for 2 hours and 15 minutes, it was just like all this exposition. It was like we're trying to figure out how we're going to fix all this, and then like we got this epic ending, but they did some little nuance things. They went up some stuff. I mean, we had the ladies of Marvel all team up, and I thought that was brilliant. And it was just really cool to see them all kind of come together.
Yeah, and I mean that could be a team in a movie unto itself, and I would wholly pay admission twice.
Which includes Pepper Potts' rescue.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think that's a good nod, and particularly it's a good kind of finale arc for Pepper as well. She started as the assistant and all those things, and she fell in love with Tony, and then she tried to have a normal life with him and all these things, but then realized this is part of who he is, and I can be a part of that too. But she did it in her own way. And I think also it was probably one of those things where Tony built that for her, either in the event that he was gone or, to ensure that she had all the same access and equality that he had in terms of if this is something that you want to do, it's here for you.
Speaking of Tony Stark, why did it have to be Tony Stark at the end? Why did he have to be the one?
Again, it kind of, I think, comes back to full arc. I'm reminded of the line from Avengers where Captain America looks at him and says, "You're not the kind of guy that would lay yourself down on the wire." And Tony says, "No, I'm the guy that would cut the wire." And that was Tony Stark, being snarky and saying there's always another way. Doctor Strange told him there was one way, and it came at a great cost.
I thought it was an emotional roller coaster for a lot of reasons. Brilliant strategies, brilliant characters. We got to see some cameos that we hadn't seen in a few years.
The cameos.
Robert Redford came back. Oh, my favorite part, the Hail Hydra moment.
Yeah, that was a great nod
Because
and a
how
great
controversial that was with the comics.
Sure.
And I thought they did an awesome job of throwing that into the movies and getting a laugh out of it. Because for those of us who've been following that, and realize Steve Rogers said join Hydra in the comics, and it was like a big, this big fiasco.
It was a
it's kind of like
deal.
Superman, doing something like that. But for them to kind of take it in there and just the subtle way that they did it was perfect.
Well, and they turned it into a positive, and it was one of those things where it continues to show that Steve Rogers' Captain America doesn't need to fight everyone as much as I wanted. Elevator fight scene part 2. I like the way that it ended.
And we thought that. You're thinking,
we're sitting there,
we're going to fight here, even though it wasn't in the same time. I mean, because this was right after the first Avengers and not during Winter Soldier, but that's one of the most. It had the same setup. Literally had the same stunt people in there. Mm-hmm. One of my buddies, Guida Silva's in that, and he was. I was like, oh, they brought Guy back. So it was like, who incidentally was one of the stunt doubles for Black Panther.
Yeah. Gui's actually has been in my store. He was a client a handful of times while I was in town.
LA. Yeah, we used to work at martial arts school together. So
very cool.
Yeah, but just to see all that stuff come back was like, all right, they're gonna get another fight here. What's going on? And then that moment. That was probably, I think I actually laughed out loud at that. I don't know about you. And not being like you said, I always tell you, I'm not that I always follow the Marvel Comics, but I knew that enough about that to get it. So for me, it kind of felt good about myself.
Yeah.
But that was one of my more favorite moments. I definitely loved all of the end. I mean, I can pick out nuance for nuance, but it was so fantastic. We could get into the whole time travel arc thing, but I think that would just drive us into a conversation that may take all day.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, not confusion, but there are some people in certain camps on what is or isn't time travel or what is happening in this specific instance of time travel, because the Russo brothers seem to try and do something a little bit different, where they said affecting the past doesn't affect the future. And a lot of people are split on this, and there are a ton of other videos out there that talk on this, or maybe we'll do one later about that.
My comic book, Chrono Cadets, is about time travel.
Okay.
And I have very specific rules about time travel because it's an all ages comic book. So it's for kids. And if you try to introduce, you know, the quantum realm, or, you know, alternate timelines, or grandfather theory, or, you know, all these time travel concepts, it's just too confusing.
Sure.
So, you know, my comic book subscribes to what we call the San Dimas theory, which is from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
So basically the clock at home is always running. So if they're gone for 8 hours in the past, they have to return 8 hours later. They can't return to the moment that they left.
Okay.
Because it's just too confusing.
Sure.
So we subscribe to that theory just to kind of simplify it. And
Very
you
cool.
can get a little bit more specific. And if you want to be one of those, you know, science nerds that comes in here and tries to rip apart something like that, have at it. But my point is, I like to consider the audience first. And I think that the Russos knew that. You know, there's a lot of people that watch the MCU that may not be into science. They don't really understand the multiverse, or how comic books can splinter off and create all these different story arcs. And I think by simplifying some things a lot, so if you can just keep it consistent, just eases the story along. Because it's not, the time travel thing isn't the focus of the story. It's just a mechanism they use to achieve their goal.
Right.
And but it's a big one, because that was the only way they were going to do it.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is time travel was such an impossibility. They made a big stink of it at the beginning, where Tony Stark was like, even if you could do it, it can't be done. And the same thing with Thanos. Thanos destroyed the stones because he was certain that what he had done could not be undone, and wanted to assure that. So yeah, it's interesting how it all works and how it all plays together. But again, I cannot speak highly enough of this. I really enjoyed it. And I think that this is going to be one of those movies that we continue to talk about for years to come. It's already historical in the amount of money that it's made. And it's still only a handful of weeks new.
Yeah. I have to admit, I've only got to go see it once. I saw it on opening night. I've been dying to go back again, but it's like just finding a hot minute to go and spend 3 hours with the movies. Definitely on my list. You know, off to New Orleans this weekend. When I come back, I'm definitely going to try to carve out a night and go see this again.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else to talk about on Endgame.
No.
I mean, there were, again, cool moments. You know, the Rat, of course, bringing Scott back from the quantum realm. Random, but
the true hero of the Marvel universe was the Rat. The Rat.
Yeah, because I mean, without Scott, it would have been.
It wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, and I think Doctor Strange knew that.
Well, we may never know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's our little take on Endgame. We want to hear what your thoughts were. Send us your comments. Let us know what you think of Endgame, and we'll see if we can get some answers to it and keep the conversation going. We're going to take a quick break and be back in a few.
Summer's almost here, which means for us in the geek world, convention season is coming. Here in Atlanta, we kick off our convention season with MomoCon. MomoCon is a local anime, video game, and animation convention here in the city, and it's always during Memorial Day weekend. We have a video for you, and if there's one thing that we do really well here in Atlanta, it's cosplay.
Calling all fans of animation, games, and comics. It's time for MomoCon 2019, featuring the largest game hall in the Southeast, esports stages, open PC and console games, huge board game library, and card gaming tournaments. Concerts and performances day and night. Meet actors like Patrick Warburton and talent from Red Dead Redemption and Overwatch. Join us for 4 days of non-stop fun. Open continuously from May 23rd through the 26th at the Georgia World Congress Center. MomoCon, Atlanta's answer to Comic-Con.
So we like to spotlight a local comic book shop. This week, we went to Kennesaw, Georgia, to Steel Collectibles. It's a great little store in the North Atlanta area. Let's take a look inside.
Hey everybody, we're at Steel Collectibles in Kennesaw, Georgia. Let's take a look inside. This is Tyler and Shannon, the proprietors of Steel Collectibles. Y'all say hi.
Hey guys.
How you doing? These guys are awesome. They have got so much cool stuff in here, and I just want to get a little closer look. One of my first stops every time I come into the store is the front case. This thing has it all.
Try to fit a little bit of everything in each case. DC stuff, old school DC Universe Classics. Yeah, we got a huge Star Wars collection recently, and then we got this one, which is kind of cool. It's the Revenge of the Jedi proof card. You just don't see those very often. That's the Luke Skywalker proof card from Revenge that was actually never used to create a toy.
Definitely a rare find. This is one thing that Steel Collectibles is really, really good at, is getting those rare to find action figures, collectibles, and you want to come here and check those out. Here we are at the infamous comic book wall. I love this thing. It is super organized. Shannon, share with me your secrets of organization.
Make it pretty simple. All the new releases come out here, so they're all in alphabetical order. As the weeks go on, they get pushed down, and then after that, they get put into the back bins.
Here we are at one of our favorite parts of the stores, the back issue bin. So if you'll notice, it's a little tight back here, but that's not a bad thing, because one of the cool things about a comic book store is you can peruse books and things that you enjoy with other people who enjoy the same things. If you're looking for something, ask the person next to you. Maybe they know where it is, maybe they saw it. And that's the great thing about perusing back issue bins. It's a great place to connect with other like-minded collectors. The only thing they have more of than Funko Pops is video games.
Come over here and we got PS3 down to PS2. Now PS2 is huge right now. All the old school RPGs and sports games from PS2 are really coming back. Not only do we carry these games, we carry the consoles as well. So we have Super Nintendos, pretty much any console you can think of, we most likely have it in stock.
There is no better place in the greater metro Atlanta area than Steel Collectibles to pick up a Funko Pop. This store has it all. They have everything from new releases to some very exclusive stuff back here in this case.
We have a lot, so we try to keep them organized by category. We have horror figures, Disney, Marvel, DC, we have some Star Wars, and it's always changing. We're always getting in new stuff. Everything, the turnover is really quick, so you never know what you're going to find. Key thing here is if you see it, buy it. Don't wait till next time. It's not going to be here.
And that's a look inside Steel Collectibles. This is an awesome store. If you're ever in Kennesaw, Georgia, or traveling through Atlanta, they are just off the Wade Green exit on I-75. Come in, see Shannon, see Tyler. These guys have a fantastic store, and I love this place. Come in and check it out, guys. We are going to go right back to the studio with myself and Jared. Guys, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And here we go. Ah!
Battle of Atlanta is the place where the best people in the world came to fight. Oliver tells us if you want to be the best, you have to go to the Battle of Atlanta. And as a kid, you see the pictures, and it was always the main goal one day to come here to fight.
Johannes is my best friend.
We push each other, and if we don't fight against each other, one of us was in the corner and hoped that he win or I will win.
The first fight in the career on the stage of the Battle of Atlanta
was a dream come true. Your whole life you train for that, and now it's there. Sometimes I walk out in the hall and there was a big picture from me and it's not real. But you don't do it for the fame or for a lot of people can see it. You do it for yourself. Martial arts is my life. Oliver was always a role model for us. Now we live that life, and I hope we can be role model for other kids in the future. They see the pictures now from the battle if we come home and see one day I will come to the battle.
That's an awesome store. I've never actually been up there. It looks really cool. Thanks for going up there.
It is a cool store. Shannon and Tyler, they are two of the coolest people I've ever met. They, like you, I think they started roughly about the same time. The first time I ever went into Steel Collectibles, man, like I went in there, I was like, I ain't got anything in here. But truthfully, I came back, so I kind of put it off to the side and started going to Dr. No's for a hot minute. But then, like, I went in like 9 months later, and they had packed this thing out. They had grown exponentially, and they have got a really great business. I mean, they're a huge Funko Pops dealer. They're really focused on video games. So if you're ever in the Kennesaw, the North Metro Atlanta, or just the Atlanta area in general, definitely stop in, because I do think they're one of the better Funko Pop retailers around, just about anywhere I've ever been. They've always got a great selection. They've always got some of those hard to find, those chase figures. And they've really started to really delve more into the comic world. So, their wheelhouse is a little bit more video games and collectibles, obviously, but they've really gotten into the comic world and really tried to understand, where the market is and really tried to bring value to that part of their business. So, again, I love to go up there. Like I said, Shannon, Tyler, super cool people. I want to give them a huge, big shout out for allowing us to come up and showcase their store. And again, if you're ever on the I-75 corridor headed north or south, going to Florida or going up to the north part of the U.S., stop in Steel Collectibles. It's literally right off the interstate. It won't take a few minutes, and give these guys some love.
Awesome.
We got
With all that being said, I think we hit most of our marks. So, I mean, what's new? What's going on? I mean, do you want to catch us up on anything new, unique?
Well, so I've been getting some questions like, hey, when you guys go to break, why are you showing this karate stuff?
Yeah, I've had that question.
Okay, and that's a fair question.
Yeah.
And I think we want to address that real quick. It's not a gigantic secret or surprise, but Direct Edition is part of the Truth Entertainment Network. And one of the main focuses of the Truth Entertainment Network is sport karate. So Truth Entertainment showcases a sport karate network, a Southeast regional conference tour and a world event, which is coming up in June, which we hopefully will be at. But that's one reason we kind of like to tie these things in. A lot of our audience, they're geeks just like us. They're buying comic books, they're going to the movies. So it kind of works out that we're attached to those things. So it's, we're also, one of the focuses of Truth Entertainment Network is to encourage people who do engage online to find a reason to get out and do something. So with Direct Edition, one of the goals of this show is to really get people to go, hey, I'm looking for that book, or hey, I want to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
And to get out and go into that local comic book shop and one, start picking up some books. Let's get some reading going on. Two, to engage in a sense of community there. We want people, tabletop gaming. We want people to find their home. I think that's one of the things I've found in the martial arts world and in the comic book world is that the community that is created through these events, because people who travel the karate tour, they're doing the competitions. They want to be the best at what they're doing, but it's where their friends hang out.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens in the comic world. We go to cons after con after con, or we go to comic book stores because that is where like-minded people come together in common purpose, where in the rest of the world, people don't understand them,
And that's the funny thing is we talk about it a lot at different conventions where we kind of have to laugh to ourselves, where the misnomer about geeks or nerds is that we're shy or quiet by nature, but when you're standing in line at a convention for a panel that everybody is sharing that same similar interest, we can't shut up about it.
And it's where you make your friends.
And that's absolutely right. You have a set group of family and friends that you enjoy something together and you create that bond together, and some of those things are for life.
And so I think just to kind of, for all you guys watching, that's the reason you see in these ads that we're putting on there. We're really trying to encourage folks to come and participate and be a part of things, because what we really believe in is a sense of community, and that's one thing I definitely love about going into the comic book stores. I can always go in, I can talk to you, I can talk to some of your other guests, and we can sit and just, we're talking, MCU, we're talking about that latest issue of Batman, or and in the karate world, the same is true. These competitors, their parents, they follow these tours and they go to these events, and they're definitely looking to compete. They're definitely looking to go up into the ranks. And believe it or not, once they actually become successful in the karate world, they actually graduate on to being stuntmen.
Yeah.
In the MCU,
Yeah.
So it is kind of all tied together, and it's very cyclical. But again, one of the goals of this show was for us is to really help build that community, build that online community, and encourage people to reach out, to step outside the fourth wall and go into a store, go into a karate school, go to an event, go to a Comic-Con, get together, because we're such a technological age that it is very difficult for people to connect, and I hope that through this show and through some of our other endeavors that we can encourage that connectivity and bring that sense of community. So that's really kind of where my head is, and that's kind of how I operate my business, that's really, behind the scenes look at why we're doing what we're doing. And for all of you guys watching, we really are, we've got some great content coming up. So for those of you who are following us here on Direct Edition, go to the Truth Entertainment Network, truthentertainment.tv. See what other shows we're putting out there. We've got a new show coming up called The Power Hour with Alex Reyes, and it's a martial arts talk show, and we're going to spotlight some of the top competitors in the sport karate world. And then on June 13th through the 15th, we're going to be broadcasting live at the Battle of Atlanta World Karate Championships, where competitors from all over the globe are going to come compete for the top prizes. We got a rematch of two competitors, one out of Germany, Johannes Gutwald, and Leslie Hoeb from Namibia. And they actually fought last year. Johannes came out as the victor, so we got a rematch this year. We're going to see who comes on. Two really solid guys, really great people. I mean, I have to admit, for a fighter, Leslie is such a sweetheart. But it's like when they get in the ring, man, they go
They're
at
there
it.
for a reason.
It's good. It's great, healthy competition. It's something we definitely want to promote. So for anybody who's worried about family-friendly entertainment, that's what we have. So I definitely want to encourage that. And if you're in our area, let me know. We've got tickets for sale, so come and see us. And
we could probably put a link in.
Definitely going to put a link on this. So like and subscribe. Go to the Truth Entertainment YouTube page. You'll see all these shows on there. Like and subscribe to all those. And again, we appreciate you guys' support. We appreciate everybody kind of tuning in. Jared, what's going on with you over in the comic book world?
I'm just continuing to do my thing at First Edition. I'm open 7 days a week, so that's kind of where I live and where I believe I do need a day off. But that's kind of the life of a business owner, and I still enjoy it. And we just go through the motions of all that. For me, I've been really enjoying my D&D group. That's kind of one of the few things that I give myself to do, usually on the weekends. So you can usually find us over on the Discord channel. You could search Stradfire. We've really been enjoying that. Our DM, Nick, has set up a really creative homebrew world that I'm very excited to kind of explore and get into. The group is a lot of fun. We're very heavy on the role-playing aspect of things, so there's a lot of character development, and we're creating a story together through kind of, improv and free writing, and it's all in the moment and wonderful D&D. So yeah,
we're two busy guys here. We're trying to make this show happen, and we've got all these other endeavors, and it's like just taking 5 minutes to read a comic book is becoming tough. So we're trying to get those moments in as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I try to read where I can, and reading at the shop, a lot of people assume, oh, well, you own a comic book shop. I'm sure you read comic books all the time. If I worked at a comic book shop, sure. Owning a comic book shop, completely different story.
Absolutely.
But we fit it in where we can and try to find those little moments of enjoyment and check in with everyone when we can.
And remember, all you out there watching, this show is for you. So we want to hear your comments. We want to hear your suggestions. Like and subscribe to all of our stuff. And tune into our other channels, because what we really are trying to promote here at Direct Edition and on the Truth Entertainment Network is community. And so this is a show for you, about you, and we want to make sure we can showcase as much of that as possible. So tune into some of our other shows. Let us know what's on your mind and how we can help you guys promote community. Jared, this has been a great episode this week. I think we've talked about a lot of cool stuff. I think there's some really good comic books coming out this week. I know I'm looking forward to them.
And it's episode 3. We've created 3 episodes worth of content, and everyone seems really excited about it. They're going to continue to tune in for all the different things that we're doing. And
we've got some cool stuff coming up. We're going to try to bring in some of our local writers, some of our local artists, and kind of showcase them as well.
For sure.
A continued support of local comic book shops. If you're a local comic book shop out there and you're watching our show, shoot us a message. Give us give us a comment. Let us know. We'd like to come check out your store if you're interested. If you're an artist, if you're a writer, and you have a project you're working on, or you've got a new book out there and you want us to showcase, we'd love to do that too, because this is a show for you guys and we want to share it. So
yeah, and like Tommy said, if you want us to come and do a spotlight in your store, or if you want to come down and either do an interview or something along those lines,
we love guests. I love
absolutely.
Guests.
We'd love to work that out and see what we can do.
Well, Jared, unfortunately, I think that's all we got this week.
I think it is, but we'll be back next week. So, for all you out there, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Direct Edition. Remember to like and subscribe all of our social media channels, and especially on YouTube. Remember, geek responsibly.